this. Men and people will fight you.
You think you know these songs. You grew up with them. You heard them on the radio at the dance, through your neighbor's window on a hot summer night. But here's what nobody told you.
Across the Red Sea, send us another brother Moses.
Some of these records were recorded with no money, no studio time, no label support, just raw truth and a rhythm that refused to be quiet. And a few of them, the ones you love the most, almost never got released at all. These are the reggae songs of the 1970s, and tonight we go deeper than the music. This is the real story. Number 10, Bob Andy and Marcia Griffiths, Young, Gifted, and Black, 1970. Picture a warm Caribbean evening, the sun just gone down. Someone has a record player on the veranda, and this song comes floating out slow, smooth, deeply hopeful. It's not angry, it's not loud, it's something rarer than that. It's dignified, it's a song that makes you feel like you matter. By Nina Simone and Weldon Irvine in 1969, a powerful American soul statement about black pride and self-worth. But Bob Andy and Marcia Griffiths took that message and wrapped it in pure Jamaican warmth. They released their reggae version in 1970, and something incredible happened. It reached number 5 on the UK singles chart. Think about that, a reggae song from Jamaica at number 5 in Britain in 1970. That was almost unheard of. And this was one of the earliest moments where reggae music genuinely broke through to mainstream British audiences, not as a novelty, but as real music. Bob Andy and Marcia Griffiths were known together as Bob and Marcia, a duo that had beautiful chemistry without ever being a romantic couple. Their voices just worked together. That natural ease is exactly what you hear on this track. Here's the thing, this song should be in every conversation about reggae crossover moments. But it's not. It got swallowed up by the decade that followed. Bigger names, bigger sounds, but the people who remember it, they never forgot it. If you heard this as a teenager in Britain or Jamaica in 1970, it stayed with you for life. That's number 10, and we're just getting started. Number 9 is the record that proved reggae could rule the top of the British charts. Don't go anywhere. Number 9, Dave and Ansel Collins, Double Barrel, 1971. This one hits different. The moment that organ riff starts, you know something's about to happen. It's got a swagger to it, a street-level confidence, like the music itself is walking down the road and daring you not to look. This is the sound of early 70s Jamaica at its most infectious, raw, funky, completely alive. In May 1971, Double Barrel hit number 1 in the United Kingdom. Number 1, that made it one of the very first reggae songs to ever reach the top of the British charts. Dave Barker handles the DJ toasting, that half-sung, half-spoken style that was cutting edge in Jamaica at the time. Ansel Collins is on the keys, and his playing gives the track that unmistakable groove. The production came from Winston Riley's Techniques label in Jamaica, a tight or stripped-back studio sound that let the rhythm breathe.
Work it on, baby.
The follow-up single, Monkey Spanner, also reached the UK Top 10 just months later. For a brief moment, Dave and Ansel Collins were the biggest reggae act in Britain. But unlike some artists who rode that wave, they never quite crossed over to America, and that limited how long the world remembered them. Honestly, they got overshadowed. By the time Bob Marley became a global name in the mid-70s, the early reggae pioneers, the ones who actually kicked the door open, were already being left behind. That's one of the quiet tragedies of music history. The people who built the road don't always get credit for the journey. Number 9, the record that put reggae at the top. Number 8 takes us somewhere spiritual. A song built on ancient words. Stay with me.
All right, C-Trends fam, let's keep it real. We're pouring our hearts into bringing you the best celebrity news and music deep dives. What? Check it. A massive 98% of you aren't subscribed yet. Subscribing is how you can truly support us, helping us grow and create even better content. If you're vibing with what we do, take a sec to hit that subscribe button. It's free and makes a huge difference. Plus, ring that notification bell so you never miss out. Let's flip that 98% and build this C-Trends family together. Your support is everything.
Every story you see here takes hours of digging, piecing together history, and bringing forgotten moments back to life. If you'd like to support that work, you can become a channel member. It's just the cost of a cup of coffee, but it helps us keep these stories alive, and for that, we're grateful. Number 8, the Melodians, Rivers of Babylon, 1970. There's a word for what this song feels like. Transcendent. It doesn't just play, it lifts. Close your eyes and you can feel the weight of it, the harmonies, the longing in the melody. This is roots reggae at its most spiritual music that was reaching for something higher than a dance floor. The Melodians wrote this song by going directly to the Bible, specifically Psalm 137, the ancient lament of a people in exile, crying out by the rivers of Babylon. They recorded it at Studio One in Kingston, Jamaica in 1970. And the roots of that psalm, the idea of a people separated from their homeland, connected deeply with Rastafari beliefs about African repatriation. But here's the twist. Most people around the world didn't discover this song through the Melodians. And they discovered it through Boney M's disco version in 1978, which became one of the best-selling singles of all time. The reggae original came 8 years earlier. And for anyone who's heard both, there's no comparison. The Melodians version carries the weight that the lyrics deserve. The song also featured prominently in the 1972 film The Harder They Come, the same movie that introduced reggae to the world. So in a way, this track pulled double duty in reggae history. When Boney M's version exploded globally, it eclipsed the original almost completely. For millions of people who came to love that song, the Melodians simply don't exist. That's not right. And it's why we're here. Number 8, a psalm turned into reggae gold. Number 7 is one of the most covered songs in reggae history. And the story behind it, it's about karma. Pure and simple. Number 7, Toots and the Maytals, Pressure Drop. First recorded 1969. The world heard it in 1972. This is a song with muscle. It doesn't ask for your attention, it just takes it. The moment Toots Hibbert opens his mouth, you feel it. There's a gospel power in his voice that doesn't belong to any one religion. It belongs to everyone who's ever felt wronged. This is roots with soul. Reggae with the spirit of a revival meeting inside it. Toots Hibbert first recorded Pressure Drop in 1969 on the Treasure Isle label in Jamaica. It had been bubbling in the local music scene, known and loved in Jamaica, but the world wasn't listening yet. That changed in 1972 when the film The Harder They Come brought its soundtrack to international audiences. Pressure Drop was on that soundtrack. And the world suddenly caught up to what Jamaica already knew. Rolling Stone magazine eventually ranked it among the greatest songs ever recorded. Not just reggae songs. Toots always explained that the song was about karma. What you put out into the world comes back to you. He said it plainly in interviews. It wasn't a complicated philosophical statement, it was lived wisdom. Delivered in 3 minutes and 20-some seconds, The Clash, Robert Palmer, and Toots himself recorded multiple versions over the years. Each one sounds different. None of them sound like the original. Pressure Drop isn't forgotten in the strictest sense, but Toots and the Maytals, as a group, are consistently overlooked when people talk about reggae legends. The conversation goes straight to Bob Marley and Toots, who was there from the very beginning. Who helped invent the genre, often doesn't get the credit he deserves. He passed away in 2020. He should be remembered as one of the greatest vocalists Jamaica ever produced. Full stop, that was number 7. Number 6 is the song and the film that changed everything the moment reggae music stepped onto the world stage, and it almost didn't happen. Number 6, Jimmy Cliff, The Harder They Come, 1972. This is a rebel anthem, a declaration, the kind of song that makes you straighten your back when you hear it. It doesn't sound like a man asking for anything. It sounds like a man who's done asking, who's decided that whatever comes, he's facing it standing up. Jimmy Cliff wrote and recorded this song specifically for the 1972 Jamaican film of the same name, directed by Perry Henzell. That film is not just a movie, it is one of the most important cultural exports Jamaica has ever produced. It introduced reggae music, its sound, its language, its spirit to international audiences who had no reference point for it before. The soundtrack album became a gateway record. People bought it in Britain and America and heard things they had never heard before. And Jimmy Cliff was at the center of it all. There's a quiet irony in this song's story. Jimmy Cliff was actually offered a deal by Island Records around this time, the same label that later signed Bob Marley. Cliff turned it down. Marley signed. History went the way it went. Nobody's saying it was the wrong choice, but it's hard not to wonder. Jimmy Cliff is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He is respected. But in day-to-day conversations about reggae, he is almost never the first name mentioned. For a man who arguably introduced more people to reggae than anyone else in 1972, that's a strange place to be. Number 6, the song that opened the door. Number 5 is older, fiercer, and it went where reggae had never gone before. We're talking about the first reggae artist to crack the American mainstream. Get ready. Number 5, Desmond Dekker and the Aces, Israelites. Recorded in Jamaica in 1968, it hit the world in 1969. There is something quiet and devastated about this song. It doesn't shout, it testifies. You can hear the weight of Kingston's ghettos in every syllable. The struggle to survive, the dignity in carrying that struggle without breaking. This is reggae at its most human. Desmond Dekker recorded Israelites in Jamaica in 1968. The following year, it reached number 1 in the United Kingdom. And then something that had almost never happened before it broke into the American top 10. This was before Bob Marley. before The Harder They Come, before any of the major crossover moments people talk about. Desmond Dekker was the first. He walked through a door that didn't exist before he pushed it open. While the song's lyrics are raw and direct, a working man exhausted, struggling, praying. It could have been written about almost anyone in almost any decade. That's why it still lands. There's a small historical note worth knowing. Some sources list the recording as 1968, others as 1969. The difference is the Jamaican release versus the international release. Either way, the impact was the same. This record showed the world that Jamaican music could compete anywhere. Desmond Dekker died in 2006, and even in his lifetime, he didn't always get the recognition his history deserved. He opened doors for every reggae artist that came after him. He should be spoken of in the same breath as the biggest names in this music. The fact that he isn't, that's the gap this channel exists to fill. Number 5, the pioneer who went to America first. And now we're entering the top 4, and number 4 comes with a story. A controversy, something I mentioned earlier. It's time to get into it. Number 4, Bob Marley and the Wailers, I Shot the Sheriff. From the Burnin' album, 1973.
It was I who shot the sheriff.
This is rebel music wrapped in a groove. It moves easy, almost too easy for a song with this much weight in it. The rhythm pulls you in before the words catch up, and then the words land, and suddenly you're in a different place entirely. This is roots reggae that tells a story, a confrontation, a man, the law, and the complicated truth somewhere in between.
But I didn't shoot no deputy.
Bob Marley and the Wailers recorded I Shot the Sheriff for their 1973 album Burnin' on Island Records. The track was powerful, but it was a British rock guitarist named Eric Clapton who took it to the masses. Clapton's cover version in 1974 went to number 1 in the United States, and in doing so, it introduced Bob Marley's name to millions of rock fans who had never heard of him before. It was one of the most significant moments of musical cross-pollination in the 1970s.
Shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no.
Now, here's the part I promised you earlier. What did this song actually mean? Bob Marley gave different answers at different times, and that's where the controversy lives. Some people say it was personal, that the sheriff was a symbol for a real authority figure in Marley's life who pushed something on him that conflicted with his Rastafari beliefs. In other conversations, Marley stepped back from that entirely. He said it was just a story, fiction. There are different versions, and honestly, that ambiguity is part of what made Marley so powerful. The unanswered questions gave the song a depth that a straightforward protest track never could. You heard in it what your own life made you hear, and that's a sign of great art.
All around in my hometown.
Eric Clapton has spoken in interviews about how much the song moved him and how recording it changed the way he thought about music. He said it was one of the most natural recordings he'd ever made. Sometimes a song just fits.
They are trying to track me down.
Most people who know this song know Clapton's version, and that's fine, Clapton's version is great. But the original Wailers recording has a rawness that the polished rock production doesn't quite capture. If you've never sat down and listened to the Burnin' album version, do that today. It's a different experience entirely.
They say they want to bring I in.
Number 3 is a song produced in one of the most legendary studios in reggae history by one of the most legendary minds in music, and it became a punk anthem. Let that sink in. Number 3, Junior Murvin, Police and Thieves, 1976.
Guns and ammunition,
The first thing that hits you is that voice. Junior Murvin sang in a falsetto so high and so clear it almost didn't seem possible, like something being transmitted from somewhere else, like a warning signal dressed up as a melody. This is roots reggae with a chill in it, dark, urgent, and deeply uncomfortably real. Release in Thieves was produced by the legendary Lee Scratch Perry at his Black Ark studio in Kingston, Jamaica in 1976. The Black Ark was unlike any other studio in the world. Lee Perry, a genius and a visionary by any standard, created a sound in that little room that you cannot replicate. A warmth, a depth, a slightly off-balance atmosphere that made every record feel like it was coming from somewhere deep underground.
Guns and ammunitions, police and thieves.
Yeah, the song was recorded during one of the most violent periods in Jamaican political history. Kingston was caught in brutal clashes between political factions. The lyrics about a society where neither the police nor the criminals were protecting the ordinary people hit close to home for anyone living
In the street. Oh, yes.
through it. And then in 1977, something extraordinary happened. The Clash, one of the most important punk bands of the era, covered Police and Thieves on their debut album. It became one of the most famous reggae to punk crossovers in music history. It showed that the message inside this song had Mark's studio in 1979. The reasons have never been fully explained. Perry himself gave different answers over the years, but what was created inside those walls before it was gone? It can never be replicated. Police and Thieves is one of those recordings that came out of that place. That alone makes it sacred in a certain kind of way.
Guns and ammunitions from Genesis.
Junior Murvin never had another moment like this one. The music industry moved, tastes changed, and a man with one of the most distinctive voices in the history of reggae quietly faded from mainstream attention. But this song, it never lost its power. Play it today in any room and it still fills the space completely. Number 2, Bob Marley and the Wailers. No Woman, No Cry, the live version, recorded in London, 1975. There is no preparing for this song, even if you've heard it 100 times, even if you know every word. When that melody starts slow, warm, almost gentle, something happens in your chest. It's not sadness exactly. It's something more complicated than that. It's the feeling of remembering, of being carried back to something you can't fully name, but immediately recognize. That's what great music does. And this is one of the greatest. The studio version of No Woman, No Cry first appeared on the 1974 album Natty Dread. Beautiful record. Important record. But the version that lives in people's hearts, the one that changed everything, was recorded live at the Lyceum Theatre in London in July 1975 and released on the Live album. Once something happened on that stage in London that night, the audience becomes part of the music. Marley's voice finds something that wasn't fully there in the studio. The song breathes differently. It becomes something communal, not just a performance, but an experience shared between an artist and a room full of people who felt every word. The lyrics speak of Trenchtown, the Kingston neighborhood where Marley grew up, the fires, the community, the struggle, and the quiet insistence on holding on to hope. Everything's gonna be all right. You believe him when he sings it, that's the gift. Here's something that often surprises people. The official songwriting credit on No Woman, No Cry is not Bob Marley. It's listed under a man named Vincent Ford, a close friend of Marley's, who ran a soup kitchen in Trenchtown and helped feed people in the community. By giving Ford the credit and the royalties that came with it, Marley ensured that his old friend would have income for the rest of his life. Whether Marley wrote every word himself or not, that act of generosity says everything about the kind of man he was. In interviews over the years, it has been widely suggested and accepted that Marley was the primary writer, but he chose to share the credit. You don't forget something like that? This song doesn't need defending, but what does deserve more attention is that live recording, the specific moment at the Lyceum in 1975, that performance is one of the great live documents in all of music. If you only know the studio version, you owe it to yourself to go back and hear the full live album. That was number 2, one song left, and I promise you number 1 earns its place. This is not just the best reggae song of the 1970s. One of the most important magazine publications in the world called the album. It came from the album of the century. Let's finish this.
All right, C-Trends fam, let's keep it real. We're pouring our hearts into bringing you the best celebrity news and music deep dives. What? Check it. A massive 98% of you aren't subscribed yet. Subscribing is how you can truly support us, helping us grow and create even better content. If you're vibing with what we do, take a sec to hit that subscribe button. It's free and makes a huge difference. Plus, ring that notification bell so you never miss out. Let's flip that 98% and build this C-Trends family together. Your support is everything.
Every story you see here takes hours of digging, piecing together history, and bringing forgotten moments back to life. If you'd like to support that work, you can become a channel member. It's just the cost of a cup of coffee, but it helps us keep these stories alive, and for that, we're grateful. Number 1, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Exodus. Released June 1977.
Just come to break down pressure, rule equality.
There's nothing else to compare this to, nothing. When Exodus plays the full track, the way it builds, you feel like you're inside something larger than a song. It's a march, a prophecy, a spiritual call that doesn't ask whether you're ready. It simply moves, and you either move with it or you stand still and let it wash over you. Either way you feel it, that's the power of this record.
Wipe away transgression, set the captive.
Exodus was released in June 1977, the title track from what many consider the greatest reggae album ever made. In 1999, 22 years after its release, Time magazine named Exodus the album of the century, not the best reggae album, not the best album of the 1970s. The album of the century, that is an almost incomprehensible statement of impact. The album stayed on the UK charts for 56 consecutive weeks. 56 weeks. That's over a year of chart presence for a single album. The song itself is rooted in Rastafari theology, the call for the African diaspora to return to their roots, to move out of Babylon, the corrupt system, and toward a truer, freer life. The lyrics carry the weight of centuries, and Marley delivers them like someone who has no choice but to say them. Here's the context behind why the album sounds the way it does. In December 1976, 2 days before a peace concert in Kingston, gunmen entered Bob Marley's home and shot him. He was wounded, so was his wife Rita and his manager Don Taylor. Marley still performed at the concert 2 days later, and then he left Jamaica. He went to London, and in London, still processing everything that had happened, he and the Wailers made Exodus. You hear that in the music? The resolve, the refusal to be broken, the deep spiritual certainty underneath all of it. The Exodus album contains what many people consider the most perfectly constructed side of a vinyl record in history. The second side featuring Jamming, Waiting in Vain, Turn Your Lights Down Low, Three Little Birds, and One Love. 5 songs, essentially flawless, back to back to back to back to back. But the title track, Exodus itself, is the foundation everything else stands on. It's the heartbeat of the whole record.
Talk to people, yeah.
This song doesn't need rescuing, but what it does deserve, what every song on this list deserves, is for people to sit with it, not just put it on in the background. Sit with it, read the words, understand where it came from. Because when you know the story behind Exodus, the assassination attempt, the exile, the faith that kept the music coming, the song becomes something different. It becomes a document of human courage. And in a decade full of songs that did extraordinary things, it's the one that cast the longest shadow